So, how can you tell if a lawyer is lying? Their lips are moving. Old joke, but not always true. Stay tuned. Hello again, everyone. I'm Eli's dad with Project Eli, where we educate, we lead, and we inspire. And we're going to get our inspiration today from the world of the law. So I'm going to go over with you some legal terms and show you how they connect with personal development. Okay, there's quite a few, so stay tuned. First one, a subpoena. Now you've heard of a subpoena before. That's when you have to appear in court. But a subpoena duces tecum. A subpoena duces tecum is when you have to bring something that you are in possession of and bring it to the courtroom to show. In other words, you got to bring something to the table. Okay, so remember, we've issued you a subpoena duces tecum. Next one, amicus curiae or amicus curiae, friend of the court. You know, in a courtroom situation, it's confrontational. There's two sides going against each other with a judge. But in the end, when the decision is made, everybody has to agree with the decision. Same thing is true in the wonderful world of business. There can be different points of view, but the bottom line is when you get to the end, the group as a whole has to agree with the decision. Objection! You hear it on TV all the time. Objection, Your Honor! That's when somebody has asked an improper question. You know, it's good to ask questions, but make sure that the questions you're asking are going to move the compass forward. Okay? Make sure that you're asking good questions, not improper questions. That's an opinion. An opinion, not facts. People are often moved by their personal biases. There's no room for bias in the courtroom. There's no room for bias in life. Make sure that you're being a straight shooter and you're not showing too much bias. I know we all fall victim to it, but that's something that happens to all of us. Irrelevant, incompetent, immaterial. That's hearsay. That's gossip. Don't be somebody that falls for gossip all the time. It's out there. I'm speaking, of course, of social media. You know, just because something is written or just because somebody says it doesn't make it true. Make sure that you examine your facts. Corpus delicti, that's the body of the crime. Now, in the legal sense, it's not necessary, you know, in many cases, it's the actual body, all right? But that's not necessarily what it means. It just means the body of the crime, proof that the crime took place. Make sure that what you're focusing upon is the corpus delicti, all right? Because a lot of times what people do is they treat a symptom and they don't look to cure the disease. Make sure that your focus is on curing the disease. Common law. What's common law? How, you know, in terms of a marriage, I think it's like if you're together 7 years, you're common law. All right, but also what it means is how people understand a concept. All right, so make sure that if you have a particular concept that you wish to communicate from one place to another, that you're doing so clearly. I see things all the time where people are just so unclear in their writing, and it brings me back to my days in high school English where the teacher said, you're not clear in this, you could be talking about him instead of talking about... Make sure that your writing is clear. Make sure your writing is clear. There's a big difference between writing and speaking. You need more clarity in your writing. Complainant. Okay, so that's one side that's complaining to another. You know what? So a lot of times there are some toxic complainers. Okay, what comes to mind is the great football player Antonio Brown as one example. You know, he's just complains, and what happens? It doesn't work out well. It doesn't work out well. So be careful before you start all your complaining. Damages. What other people do to you. Make sure that it's other people doing it to you. You know, recently I had a personal experience with my number one son, with Eli, where, you know, he left his hat in his mother's car, and he blamed her because he left his hat in the car. Well, she rushed me out of the car. I couldn't. If you need a hat for a particular purpose. You needed it for work. If you need a hat or whatever for a particular purpose, it's not anybody's fault but yours, because it's your hat. All right, so don't be finger pointing when stuff goes wrong. Look at yourself first. Contract, make an agreement. Okay, that's one meaning. All right, are you making a contract with yourself? This is what I want to do. This is my purpose. Are you visualizing it every single day? And what happens, it can happen in a good way and a bad way. Once you make this contract, it becomes a virus. And if your virus is a positive one, that's a good thing. But if it's a negative one, that's not such a good thing. Keep in mind that the infinite mind doesn't look at things and make judgments. Oh, that's a good thing, that's a bad thing. The way the infinite mind looks at things is if you have a burning desire, whether it's a good one or a bad one, and you focus on it and you work towards it, it's going to come true. So make sure that your contracts, the virus that you catch is one that's going to put you in a positive state of mind and produce positive outcomes. Appeal. That's when you ask for something that you want. And in the legal system, you make an appeal. Well, this wasn't right. I want to make it right. Okay, well, on the personal side of the balance sheet, you make an appeal. You see something that could be improved, and when you look at it, you don't look at it better than it is, you don't look at it worse than it is, you look at it as it is, and then you ask for something that's going to make it better, and you work in that direction. The appeal. Bail. That's when you have to pay the piper for your freedom. And you put a small percentage, usually 10% of what, if the bill's $100,000, you have to put out $10,000. All right, I think that's the numbers, okay, but it could be smaller than that, I don't know. But it's an amount of money you have to give to make sure that you're going to show up. Okay, to bail in life is to quit, four-letter word right there. So, you know, everything has its costs. Keep that in mind. Nothing comes to you for free. All right, so even your freedom. We need to keep that in mind, especially in today's times where the world is in such turmoil. All right, next time we get together, we're going to go over some more legal terms and how they relate to personal development. Until that time, hey, don't ration the passion, fashion the passion. I'm Eli's dad.